So, the Adjustment Bureau, which, as you've probably seen from the posters, has been described by some journalists. Sorry, I was just...
Directing traffic.
Not directing traffic.
A
I just
little
do that
treat
to
for the
stretch.
online people.
So, has been described by some reviewers as Bourne meets Inception, partly because George Nolfi, who writes and directs, started out writing the Bourne movies, part of the Inception thing, obviously, because it's a thriller in which the real world seems to suddenly turn into something else. It's adapted from a story by Philip K. Dick, whose writings have inspired many, many movies, not all of them successful. I mean, the key ones being... well, Blade Runner, clearly, Total Recall, Scanner Darkly, most recently, Minority Report, Screamers. I mean, Philip Dick had a... Have you read any Philip Dick? Philip K. Dick?
No, don't think so.
Okay. Philip K. Dick stories essentially spin around a similar...
I feel inadequate again.
No, well, you should have read some Philip K. Dick.
Yes, I should.
Have you never read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the thing on which Blade Runner is based?
No, I think I can speak for most people when I say the
No, not for most people. I think most people have. Okay, fine. Let's do
most people have.
Fine, let's do a poll text.
No, I don't
Let's do a text poll, okay? Fine. Yes or no? Text yes or no. Have you read
Can't do that
Androids...
anymore.
Can't I?
Can't do that anymore.
Well, even...
They're not allowed.
Aren't they?
No, on the basis that
you'll lose.
Everyone will either say yes and lie, or the people who have read it will want to show off.
A lot of people have read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
Oh, a lot of people have. I agree.
Most people,
not most.
All people have read that, and have also read. We can remember that for you wholesale, and which is Total Recall. So, but anyway. For those who haven't, the central idea that spins round most of Philip Dick's writing is to do with identity or the loss of it or the attempt to find it, and also paranoid conspiracy theories that the lone individual is A, not who they think they are, and B, everyone around them is somehow involved in some ongoing conspiracy against them. So throughout Philip Dick's writings, we get loss of identity, confusion of identity, and deep-rooted suspicion of everyone around. Okay, so the story here, Matt Damon is an up-and-coming politician who's going to be the youngest politician to do really well in America. Then suddenly, on the eve of an election, there is a scuppering story which turns out that he was involved in some sort of college horseplay, I think is the phrase. Suddenly his ratings plummet, so he's going to lose very badly. On the eve of making his acceptance speech, having which you graciously say, yes, we lost, but on the other hand, that which does not kill me strengthens me, he is in a men's room and he bumps into Emily Blunt. They have a moment together, and it's just a sort of moment in which he's suddenly inspired to go out in front of the crowd and say to the crowd, you know what, I was going to do one kind of speech, I'm going to do another kind of speech. All politicians...
She's in the men's room?
Yeah, she is.
Why is she in the men's room?
Well, that's one of the questions of the thing. Why is she there? Was she there because she says that she's actually running away from the security guards, but is she there because she's a plant? Is she there because she's a tree? Is she there because... Sorry.
I know, what's the answer?
I can't tell you because that would be a plot spoiler.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway, so he suddenly has this moment of connection with Emily Blunt. He goes out and he makes a speech in which he says, look, this is all fraudulent. This tie was chosen for me by committee. These shoes were chosen for me by committee. Next thing you know, his popularity is bouncing back and his career is on the rise again. And, coincidentally, later on he bumps into Emily Blunt's character again, only to suddenly discover that these strange men, all wearing sort of slightly shady suits and hats, all of them in hats, appear to be conspiring to stop him and Emily Blunt get together. Here's a clip.
Why do you people care who I love?
It's not about her. It's about you. Why do you refuse to accept what should be completely obvious by now? You've seen what we can do. You can't doubt we are who we say we are.
Look, it's not about who you are, it's about who I am.
Can't outrun your fate, David.
I just disagree with you about what my fate is. I know what I feel for her, and it's not gonna change. All I have are the choices that I make, and I choose her.
Can you rule out the possibility that Emily Blunt was just a toilet cleaner?
Yes.
So that's her job.
No, she's not.
Because that would explain why she's there.
No, she explains why she's there. But then the question is, who do you trust? Do you trust anyone? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your own version of yourself? And incidentally, we'll get onto this in a moment with the unknown. So, look, as far as the Adjustment Bureau is concerned, here's the thing. It is silly. And on one level, it is Inception light. Okay? It is, Inception for kids, although I actually think Inception is for everybody. But it's kind of sweet and kind of fun and kind of bouncy and kind of jolly and sort of entertaining in an engrossing kind of way, even for all its silliness, even for all its flimsiness, even for the fact that in terms of previous adaptations of Philip Dick have tended to be a lot harsher edged. Their conspiracy theories have tended to be a lot more brutal. If you look at a film like Blade Runner, for example, which is, I suppose, the definitive Philip Dick on screen.
Have you got wind?
No, I'm sorry. But thank you for bringing it up. They've been a lot tougher in terms of the way in which they approach those central themes. This has at its heart a romance. There is this romance between Emily Blunt and Matt Damon, and it's done rather well. Their characters together, she's a ballerina, he's a politician, she's into expressing herself through the medium of modern dance, he's into expressing himself through the medium of wearing a shirt and a tie. They have this unlikely kind of meet-cute-like relationship, and it sort of spans a long period of time because they keep bumping into each other and then losing each other, and then these sinister people who appear to be doing something very sinister around them in a very sinister world in which actually everything is not quite what it seems but might be what you've always paranoidly expected it to be. But at the centre of it is their relationship. And the funny thing is that despite the fact that it's a science fiction movie on one level and it's a surreal thriller on another level, the reason it works is because their central romance or non-romance, because they keep being separated, is actually rather charming, is actually rather sweet, is actually rather engaging. And all the time that you're watching it, you're thinking this has none of the toughness, none of the intellectual rigour, none of the emotional rigour of Inception or Blade Runner or any of those films, but it is kind of charming, and I use this word advisedly, in a popcorn way. I did enjoy it. It was kind of bright and colourful and brash, and it makes all its points very clearly, and everything's written and very, very heavily signposted, and there's not an ounce of subtlety in it. But I like Matt Damon very much. Emily Blunt handles the role very well, in fact. The kind of mercurial, do you trust her, do you not trust her? Is she involved in this? Isn't she involved in it? Is she what she seems to be? And certainly the moment in which it's revealed that she is somebody who expresses herself through the medium of modern dance, I did have to take a couple of steps back. So you're going to lose me now, you're going to lose me, but it didn't. So despite all my reservations, despite the fact that anything that compares itself to Inception worries me, despite the fact that I automatically, my hackles rise at the idea of anything being Bourne meets Inception, I was rather charmed and I enjoyed myself in a silly and entertainingly airheaded kind of way. It's fun.